Haaland tapes his mouth shut before sleeping. He drinks raw milk every morning. He eats cow heart and liver like they are everyday meals. It sounds like the routine of someone who has gone too deep into wellness content, but every single thing he does has a specific reason behind it. And when you understand those reasons, his habits stop looking strange. So what is actually behind all of this? And what does it have to do with being one of the best players on the planet? To find out, we are going to analyze everything we know about him, starting from his morning routine. The first thing Haaland does every morning is go outside to get natural sunlight directly in his eyes, followed by a morning walk when possible. Morning sunlight sets the body clock for the entire day. It triggers cortisol release at the right time, regulates energy levels, and directly influences how easily you fall asleep that night. The whole system runs on that first light signal. Since he lives in Manchester, sunlight may not always be the best. In those cases, he uses red light panels to replicate the same effect. Then comes the coffee, and this is where it gets interesting. Haaland has called coffee a superfood, but it has to be done in a specific way. His personal version comes with raw, unpasteurized milk and maple syrup. The fat from the milk and the sugar from the maple syrup slow down the absorption of caffeine in the body. So instead of a sharp spike that drops off an hour later, he gets a slower, more sustained release of energy that carries through the morning without the crash. He also stirs collagen into it to support joint health and connective tissue recovery, which matters enormously for someone covering the distances and taking the physical contact he does every week. It is a cheap and practical addition to something he is already drinking every morning. Now let's move on to what is probably the most peculiar aspect of his lifestyle, his diet. Haaland eats around 6,000 calories a day, but the number is almost irrelevant compared to what those calories actually are. Grass-fed steaks up to 770 grams, eggs, liver, cow heart, raw milk he calls his magic potion, zero ultra-processed food. His dad cooks him a homemade lasagna before every home game. Starting with liver, a single serving covers your daily vitamin A, B12, copper, and riboflavin several times over, plus a heavy dose of folate and easily absorbed iron. Iron is what carries oxygen to your muscles and brain. When it runs low, fatigue follows. For an athlete covering the distances Haaland does in a single match, keeping iron levels high is not optional. He also enjoys honey, more specifically raw honey, which contains antioxidants, enzymes, trace minerals, and has antimicrobial properties that support gut health, which is perfect for an athlete who needs stable energy across a full 90-minute match and then recovery afterward. Cow heart is less talked about, but equally impressive. It is one of the richest sources of CoQ10 available in food, a compound that sits at the center of cellular energy production. It also provides taurine for cardiovascular function, choline for brain health and muscle control, and a range of B vitamins that support energy metabolism. Eggs cover protein, healthy fats, and choline. Grass-fed steak provides complete protein, creatine, which supports both muscle function and cognitive performance. Raw milk adds calcium, protein, and the gut-supporting properties of unpasteurized dairy that he credits for his digestion and skin. What Haaland understands is that food is information. Every meal sends signals to the body about what to build, how to recover, and what to prioritize. He sends the highest quality signals he can find every single day. He then uses the energy coming from this diet to fuel his training. Haaland trains to be faster and stronger. Sprints, hills, hiat, heavy compound lifts. His body went from 86 to 94 kilograms of muscle during his time at Manchester City. What gets overlooked in his training is the mobility work. Daily, deliberate, taken as seriously as the lifting itself. Explosive power without flexibility is a body that eventually breaks down. The mobility work is what allows him to sustain that level of output across a full season without falling apart. And it is probably the most transferable lesson from his training for anyone who wants to stay consistent long term. The work you put into recovery is what determines how much you can actually do. And Haaland takes recovery as seriously as the training itself. Ice baths and sauna 4 to 5 times a week, alternating between cold and heat. In contrast sessions, the cold drives blood out of the muscles and the heat brings it back in, flushing waste products and accelerating the delivery of nutrients. Sleep sits at the center of all of it. He has said the connection between how well he sleeps and how well he performs is the clearest pattern in his life. Blue light blocking glasses go on hours before bed. He goes to sleep at the same time every night without exception. He tapes his mouth shut to force nasal breathing, which increases oxygen efficiency and produces measurably better recovery than mouth breathing. The principle running through all of it is simple. The body can only produce what it is given the conditions to recover from. Haaland trains hard because he recovers harder. The two are inseparable in his mind and in practice. But let's not only talk about the physical aspect, let's spend some time on the mental one, more specifically on his mindset. This is the part that actually separates Haaland from athletes with similar physical gifts. Meditation sits at the center of that. He has talked about it openly and directly. He said he likes to meditate, that it has been helping him a lot, and that it helps him find an inner peace. On the pitch, his famous goal celebration, sitting cross-legged in the lotus position with eyes closed, is not a performance. It is the same practice he does in his daily life, visible for a moment in one of the most high-pressure environments in sport. He has described it simply to relax, to try not to think too much, because stress is not good for anyone. The concept is to let go of those kinds of thoughts. For him, it has worked really well. He has also shown an admirable amount of discipline, which can be simply explained by saying that he does the work even when he doesn't want to. That's the kind of mindset that separates an elite performer from the rest. In conclusion, Haaland has figured out that the body and mind respond to how you treat them. Sleep properly and you think more clearly. Move deliberately and you feel better in everything you do. Manage stress through meditation and the noise of daily life becomes easier to handle. Eat food that actually nourishes you, and the difference shows up in your energy, your mood, and your focus. None of these habits require being an elite athlete. They require taking yourself seriously enough to try. So are you gonna try some of that cow heart? Let me know in the comments. What habit is the most interesting to you? And I'll see you in the next video.